Strange things about South Korea that will confuse any foreigner. Age is important. Koreans age differently than the rest of the world, as everyone is already considered 1 year old at birth. They also follow a social hierarchy that is largely based on age. So, don't be surprised if anyone asks you your age upon meeting. It is normal in Korean culture as it establishes seniority in a relationship. That being said, arguing with someone older than you, no matter how right you may be, is considered rude and uncouth. Using two hands for handshakes. When in Korea, shaking hands with just one hand is considered rude. Using both hands, or at least placing your left hand on your right wrist for support, coupled with a slight bow, is considered a polite gesture. According to the Korean social hierarchy of age, one hand can only be used by an older person towards a younger person, but not vice versa. Just to be on the safer side, using both hands and slightly bowing during every handshake will land you great points in Korea. Likewise, if someone bows to you, it's polite to always bow in return. Pouring drinks. In South Korea, drinking is often a part of the social culture. But you should never pour your own drink as it is considered impolite. Let others pour your drink for you, and you will return the favor for them. It's also important not to use just one hand when you pour for someone else. Using both hands for pouring someone's drink is considered friendly, respectful, and polite. Chopstick manners. Want to make a good impression at the dinner table in South Korea? Before you pick up your chopsticks, let the oldest people start first, as Koreans value letting the elders at the table eat first. Also, there are several taboos that revolve around chopsticks. After you've finished eating, don't play around with your chopsticks or place them upright in your bowl. Sticking your chopsticks vertically in the food is believed to look like incense sticks at a funeral, and is frowned upon. Instead, lay them over the mouth of the bowl so they balance across. Blowing your nose. Korean food is quite spicy and you may instinctively reach for the tissue when trying it out. But blowing your nose in public, especially while eating, is considered extremely rude in South Korea. The act of blowing your nose is quite unpleasant for the Koreans to hear. So, if you feel the need to do it, politely excuse yourself and head to the restroom to do the business. Writing in red ink. Koreans have some of the most unusual superstitions, and it's best to be careful of the color that you are using to write. In Korea, it is considered bad luck to write someone's name in red ink. Back in the day, the Koreans wrote deceased people's names in red ink, and so, even today, the practice is associated with the old custom. Seeing someone's name in red ink is considered a bad omen. So, consciously writing anything in blue or black ink is the safest bet. Clothing etiquette. South Koreans have a pretty unusual take when it comes to clothing etiquette, especially for the ladies. For instance, wearing clothes with a plunging neckline or exposed shoulders is largely considered taboo. So, instead of tank tops, loose-fitting t-shirts or layered clothing would be a safe option to avoid judgmental looks from older women. However, short shorts and miniskirts are commonplace for women in Korea, and are actually considered fashionable and acceptable. Addressing people. If you're meeting a Korean male that is older than you, then he may introduce himself using Mr. plus his family name. Some men don't like to be called by their first names and are quite conscious of using the proper title based on rank. The way you address someone is based on the social hierarchy, and calling people by their first names is not a good idea until you know them well enough. The safest way to address someone is to ask the person how they would like to be called the first time you meet. Eye contact. Most of us have been taught that making and maintaining eye contact is a sign of politeness and attentiveness, and good social etiquette. It shows that you're listening attentively and are confident about yourself. But in Korea, keeping eye contact is considered too bold and frowned upon. If you look directly at someone older than you, it would signify that you're on the same level as them, making the gesture extremely rude in this case.